And welcome to the team call. It is October 12th. So great to see so many of you guys here. If you're able, turn your cameras on so we can see your beautiful faces. So much more fun when we can see you guys.
Where's Mike Miller? Michael Miller. Where is he? Where are you really?
He's in Tampa with Cody.
I'm in Bali.
He's in Bali.
Oh gosh, you guys.
I'm like, wait a minute.
People never know if you're telling the truth
When
or
did he go there?
what's going on. All right. Welcome to the team call. Love seeing where you guys are all tuning in from, and certainly keep the chat active. It makes the call fun. Certainly try to be focused on the call. We really think we've got some good stuff for you tonight. So we want to engage you for 30 minutes and hopefully just impart some wisdom on you. And what we decided to do is, one of the things we love doing together is being out in nature. And we usually run, but we've been walking. Susan's got a recovering knee surgery thing, so we ran a little bit, but we walked more than anything, and we power walked. And while we did, of course, we talked Isagenix. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes some of our most brilliant ideas and things will pop into our head when we're exercising, that then we come home and it's like, oh my gosh, we have to talk about this or train on this, or I have to contact this person, or they'd be amazing in this business. These great ideas come. And one day we were talking about what does it truly take to be successful in Isagenix, in this business? What does it take? What separates someone from wanting it to achieving it? You know, what is it? And so we had such great conversation, and I'm like, we've got to talk about that in the team call, because I think this could truly help people. So let's just get started.
We're supposed to look at the screen.
I
We
know.
agreed we weren't going to look at each other.
Okay, so
we're just going to look at the
okay,
screen.
so-
We're going to talk this way because
Okay.
it's less distracting.
Okay.
Yeah, so go ahead. What?
Well, so you're going to start.
Oh.
We're going to go back to Isagenix to the beginning.
Okay. So 8.5 years ago, when we joined Isagenix, we went to our first event. It was Cindy and Val Gerber and me. And we had been used to going to events with our other company, which was Tastefully Simple. And in that company, Cindy was one of the top leaders in the whole company. And she had left Tastefully Simple and came to Isagenix. And when we went to our first event, Cindy and I were both Crystal executives. So we were it was within the first 3 months that we joined to when the event was. So that's successful, right? Because that's what we all are striving to do and be. And we went there, and boy, was it a whole different ball game, because we were among the most successful people in the whole company, millionaires, many times over, people that had been with the company. And Cindy, I remember her feeling, so everyone knew who Cindy was in our old company, and no one knew who we were there. It was just it was a different vibe. And she went from being a big fish in a small pond to a small fish in a big pond. And how did you feel when we were there and that was happening?
The first day was probably the roughest, because I was friends with all the people from corporate. We had chairs with our name on it up front in my last company. So I was just, I am like, what gets me going is not so much walking across stage. I don't need that kind of recognition, but I loved that people knew me and loved me. Like, I loved that people knew me, saw me coming, gave me hugs. So when we get to this new company, and the conference was much bigger than what we were used to, and there was nobody that was like, hi Susan, hi Cindy, hi Val, but there was just none of that. The first day was just, honestly, it was just like, oh my gosh, I really did start completely over. So it was a little humbling the first day. And then, you know, as we got through the conference, each day just got more and more exciting. And we would see people on stage, and it just lit me up. And I kept thinking, the opportunity here is so huge. And everything I saw just got me so excited. And then they announced this ISA Derby contest. So now it's called ISA Rally. So for those of you that know about the ISA rallies, if you're newer, we have a winning team on the call tonight. So let's see, Taylor's on, and I can't even see everybody. Cody's on. I don't know if Tyler's on, but they had a winning team this year for ISA Rally, which unfortunately they're not getting to go to Mexico, but Isagenix is taking fabulous care of them and treating them big time. But back then they announced a trip to Maui, and you had to create a team with 6 people. We had 3 of us right there, and we just decided right then and there, all right, let's each pick one person that we've enrolled, and let's put a team together and let's go for it. Why couldn't we earn this trip to Maui? And we were ignorance on fire. And even though it was a very large company compared to what we were used to, we just thought, let's go for it. And we really let what we saw at that conference fuel us. And when we earned the trip to Maui. And of the 6 of us that earned it, 3 of us are still here, working the business and totally vested in this company, and will never leave. 3 of them are not with us any longer. So isn't that curious?
That's curious. And so there we go.
Yeah.
Right into into talking about comparison. So what was pretty cool was when we were there, I remember a big moment for me. I was comparing myself to a gal that spoke that year who had earned $1 million with Isagenix in 1 year. And I remember thinking, this is the path to go. So I was comparing myself, my journey to her journey, and in a good way, like, okay, this is the tracks to run on, and I'm going to do what she did. So that was how I was comparing myself. And Cindy has her, I'm sure you have to share, you compared yourself to the successful people that you wanted to emulate them, right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. So my thing was, I'm going to look for people who have what I want, and I'm going to copy them. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm not going to, make myself feel poorly in what I'm not achieving or not doing. I'm going to look to see what the people that are really successful, that I feel some kind of a connection with, maybe a bond with, and I'm going to copy what they do. Lynn Hagedorn is someone I love watching her. She's done amazing things. I didn't grow near as quick as Lynn, but I am sure she put in her hours much longer than I did, and she'd been growing herself longer, and her success happened quicker. But when we got started, I just learned really early on, if you're going to use comparison, you can use comparison in 2 ways. You can use comparison to inspire you or deflate you. And what was the question that Val was saying with us? How did that go?
So what, Val's here. Let her unmute.
Val, you want to help us out? How did that question go we were chatting about yesterday?
I just said that it's important, like when we are starting to coach someone and to support them, like I think it's a really good idea if we could just ask them, when you see someone moving faster than you, maybe their business is growing faster than yours, does that inspire you or does that defeat you? How do you feel? Because if you know the answer to that, I think you can be a much better coach, because I think a lot of times we just assume however we feel when that's happening is how that other person is going to feel. And that's not necessarily the way it is. And so I just think by asking that, we can.
That's perfect. And when Val said that the other day, so what I love coming to Ohio is that we really get together and we mastermind over, a glass of wine or a cup of tea. And we were talking about that the other night because we've been talking a lot about the whole comparison thing. So for me, I was comparing myself to the top leader in the company that year and said millionaire in 1 year. And guess what, you guys? I did not make it. That did not happen. But on the flip side, I didn't let that stop me because I knew it was possible. And if you think about it, so I let her inspire me. And there were times that I was frustrated because I wasn't where I wanted to be, but I still let that inspire me, because if I let it take me out of the game, I wouldn't be here. And people do actually walk away just because they've compared themselves and haven't measured up to either what they thought they should be, or what that other person is, right? So when you compare yourself and you use it in a good way, it's great fuel. But if you compare yourself and let it take you out of the game, then that's not a good thing. And I want you guys to think about it for a second. Val talked about it as being a coach, right? So for me, I see someone doing great and I'll say, oh my gosh, look at Miranda go. She's kicking butt right now. And, watch what she's doing. Well, somebody else might say, I can't do what Miranda's doing. And that makes them feel bad about themselves. So as a coach and a leader, we can't always assume that what motivates us. We have to find out what motivates this person. But on the flip side, I want all of you guys to make, if you have someone leading you and a mentor, whether it's your upline or someone in the company that's your friend, think about this for yourself, because you need to know yourself. Do you get jealous and envious, and does that take you out of the game? You don't have to tell us, but be honest with yourself, because if that's how you feel, you need to work on that. And if it motivates you, that's great, and look for more of it. But Val's question was just so spot on, because it's so important that not only, maybe your leader doesn't even have to know it, but you have to know it. Mm-hmm. Because if you're watching people soar ahead of you and that makes you feel terrible, you've got to work on that.
Yeah. And it's fixable. So it's also normal. So I don't want you guys to think if you feel deflated or if someone else's success makes you feel badly about where you're at, I don't want you to beat yourself up over that. I want you to recognize that and fix it, because it is fixable. I think of a sweet girl on our team, and every time, when she got started, she's been with me for many, many years. And every time someone would promote or rank advance ahead of her, quicker than her, she would always be like messaging me, this inspires me. This fires me up. I know I'm going slower, but I don't care. This gives me hope. This inspires me. And I always think of her and her story, because that's how she is in every area of her life. And guys, I wasn't always this way. When I grew up, I was someone that was jealous of everything. I lived in a very, very, very small, very modest house. So when I would go to my friend's house and they would have a big home and a big bedroom, and they had an Atari system, I'm aging myself, but we could play Pac-Man at their house, I was like, oh my gosh. And I wasn't like psyched for my friend that they had all this stuff. I was like feeling sorry for myself that I didn't. And I grew up that way, feeling envious of what everyone else had. So this was something I personally had to overcome. So I want you to know that other people's success, and not just my downline, can I please preface that? I don't just get success because my people are successful and it helps me. I get psyched for people that have different businesses outside of Isagenix and network marketing. The chiropractor, our family friend chiropractor in town, has a thriving business. And I remember when he came to town and they built a beautiful home, people were kind of envious of that. And I was like, go, you work so hard, you deserve this. I'm like that in every area of my life. And it's so freeing, you guys, to be able to be happy and joyful for other people's success. And let it fuel you. When you see other people having great success in Isagenix, let that fuel you. If they can do this, so can you. We go to this conference, no one knows us. We have, we came from a direct selling background where we really sold products, like literally out of a minivan, we sold products. We came here, absolutely, totally different company. And we saw this trip and we were like, why not? Why can't we do this?
Why not us?
We let other people's success inspire us to go for it, not deflate us. And that's what we want for all of you. So comparison is one of the biggest things. When I coach people, when I train people, when I'm a guest on other team calls, when I've done podcasts, when people ask me what's one thing that people do that can really hurt them in this industry. I'm like negatively comparing themselves. Compare yourself to how you were yesterday and grow tomorrow, be better than you were yesterday. That's healthy. Look at what other people are doing and say, if she can do this, if he can do this, so can I. That fuels me, that fires me up. But don't ever feel deflated and let down that you can't do or have what someone else does. Don't allow that to happen. And if it is happening, reach out, talk to someone about it, and let us help you, because we really want you guys to be able to live in a place of pure bliss and joy for other people's success, knowing you can have exactly what you want in this business. Are we good, or do we need
Yeah,
to
I
move
just
on?
want to say one more thing. Here's a great little trick or tip. So put a rubber band, or if you feel that you are jealous because you're comparing and whatever, snap that rubber band every time, because it will remind you to say, yes, go. And I'm looking at the faces here, and I know we're preaching to the choir, right? Because I've been congratulated, and we've all kind of done that with everyone here. So I know that. The other thing I want to say too is, you've heard the quote, comparison is the thief of joy. And I like to say comparison is the thief of success. Because if you're comparing yourself and feeling bad, then that is going to take you out of the game. I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter how hard you work. If you're comparing yourself and feeling bad about other people, that's negative energy. It's going to take you out.
And you can either be inspired or you can be frustrated, and then the thought of quitting will enter your mind. So we're going to talk about quitting mentality next. And that's the other thing that I see a lot of people doing. And you heard half of our ISA Derby team left. Guys, one girl that left, she left 30,000 people on her team. Now, most of you, if you had 30,000 people underneath you, you would realize what a dream come true that is. You would be thanking God every day for those 30,000 people and trying to figure out how could you monetize that and do something with this business. And I don't know if it was comparison. I don't know if it was grass is greener somewhere else. I guess that was it, because she went on and did a couple more companies since then. She could be with us today. She could be a multimillionaire, you guys. And she thought the grass was greener and she quit. So my point is, you can't let, hopefully, and how many of you guys were on the team call last week? Maybe write in the chat that heard Valerie's story of not quitting and persevering and what's happening now in her business. I mean, what Val has done has been absolutely amazing. And Gina, what was the word you used to oak tree. She's like, Val's an oak tree. And I love that story because, you know, we think if we're not achieving our goals and dreams quick enough that we're a failure. Guys, that's not true at all. Everyone's on different paths. Everyone has a different amount of time to put into their business. Some people have full-time jobs, and some people have children, and some people have so much on their plate that the amount of time they can put into their business is not as big as others that maybe do this full-time. So you cannot compare yourself to other people. But what you also have to do is have a mentality of, the grass is not greener. I have proven this. I looked at every other health and wellness company before I signed up with Isagenix, you guys. I looked at every compensation plan. I couldn't, if there were a better company, we'd all be there. We wouldn't be here. There's not a better company. I am so vested in this business and in this company and in all of you that like I get messages all the time wanting me to look at different things. The new thing is the new fitness clothing that's a startup company, and everybody wants us to take a look at it. The grass is not greener. We have life-changing products. How many of you has your life been changed because of these products? I mean, most of us, even if you didn't lose 100 pounds, your life has been transformed from these products. How many of you from the business, how many can you say just from what you've done so far in the business, your life's been changed? Lots of heads nodding. Miranda, you better be going like this, girlfriend, after today. Miranda had a big payday today, guys. A lot more than she was expecting when she got her message and her email today. She had to call Val immediately. The potential here is really limitless. It's anything you want it to be. But if you let someone else's success deter you, if you let a discouraging, something discourage you or take you out of the game, a bad week, a bad year, cycles are down, whatever's going on in the economy, whatever's going on in politics, if you let that deter you, you guys, you're going to regret it. So you really don't want to ever entertain the thought of quitting. I've never done that with Isagenix. I can tell you this with 100% of my heart and soul. Not once have I ever thought about quitting. I am 100% vested in this. This is my plan A, my plan B, my plan C. The grass is not greener anywhere else. I will never look anywhere else. This is it. And that's the kind of attitude we want you guys to have, that bulletproof. There is no other option except this. And your belief will grow because of that.
I have something to share.
Please.
I hope I say it right. So excuse me, but it just popped into my head. I'm reading this great book and it's called Think Like a Monk. And if you don't have it, it's awesome. I'm going to read it again and highlight everything. It's just got so many great nuggets in there. But in this book, he talked about there was a sustainable environment built, like just imagine a dome. And in this dome, they wanted to grow trees and really grow so everything was protected, so they could monitor all the nutrients in the soil and the water and all that, and they grew trees. And what they found was the trees grew to a certain point, big trees, and then they would just fall over. And the reason that this was happening is because they were so protected that they were not exposed to the wind. So a tree out in nature, as it's growing, it's exposed to the wind and it learns to adapt and grow its roots in, and the trees can grow really big. But in this environment, they couldn't grow big trees because the trees weren't exposed to the elements. So think of it as when you're going through something in your business, it's not a bad thing. It's just not a bad thing. It's making you stronger. You're learning to be more resilient. You're learning to find another way to do things. And I've been with Isagenix as long as Cindy has been, and I've had to adjust my sales. I've had to try something new, and that's why the executives get on a call on Mondays and we mastermind and we break off into groups and we talk to each other and find out what's working, and sometimes something isn't working. But here is where Val, I'm going to use her again because it's so cool to be here with her and see her. I just love her and her perseverance and her resilience, because Val has been the tree watching, hanging out in the wind, and she's hit her stride right now and she's just growing, and it's pretty amazing. So the things that are happening, we're all going to do this. Isagenix does this. Marriages do this. Everything in life, there's ups and downs. It's never an upward trajectory and perfect. But remember, when these things happen, when you hit those things, they're making us stronger. That wind is helping us dig in and figure it out.
Yeah, I'm listening to the audio of the very same book, you guys, and I just heard that today. So that's so great. I'm glad you brought that up. All right, so in wrapping up, you guys, we hear Eric Coover. Hopefully you guys get your weekly emails, Leaders in the Loop from Eric Coover, and you see his videos. If you don't, call customer service. But he's also, follow him on Instagram, Facebook. He's been doing it all on social media as well, the whole 2.0 thing. And this 2.0, you're noticing the branding changes. So they've come out with that, and everything that they're doing now is really to upgrade everything that we've got going on. Everything is getting better. The products are getting better. The packaging, the marketing is getting better. The guy heading up the marketing, I've heard him speak a couple times now. Oh my gosh, he's amazing. Everything is getting better. The compensation plan is getting better. Everything, bonuses. Oh my gosh. I mean, you guys, the manager pool, the director pool, which must be what Miranda received today. I haven't seen it firsthand yet, but there is so much money to be had there. The executive leadership bonus, the holiday bonuses that are going on right now. So many things for you to take advantage of. So when you're thinking about all that is to come, our hope for you is that you're going to finish this year strong. And we know 2021 is going to be a better year, don't we? We all know that, right? Could it get better? Yes, it's going to be amazing. And we want to finish this year strong. We are going to come together in Tampa for New Year's kickoff, you guys. We're going to let details out soon. We're in the planning phases right now. We're going to come together, watch the event live together. We're going to really take this 2.0. But in order for our businesses to go 2.0, guess who has to go 2.0? Yeah, we didn't plan that. We have to step up. And how can we do that? We can do that by noticing where our weaknesses are. Are we someone that needs to work on this comparison thing? We're all guilty of it to some degree, you guys. Some of us have just finally mastered it. I did it for so long, and I'm so glad I'm not in that same place anymore. And if I can do it, so can you. And I'm sure I'm not alone when I say that, you know, this was definitely a struggle of mine early on. I felt insignificant. I felt unworthy. I felt like I didn't have what it takes to be successful. I had all of those feelings, and I had to work through that and push through that to get to where I am today. And if I can do that, so can every single one of you guys on this call. And we want all of us to have 2.0 versions of ourselves, because together, just imagine what we can do together, right? And if we want this company to keep growing and rising, we need to step up and do our part. So that's what we've got for you guys tonight. We hope that fueled you and got you motivated and fired up. Anything you want to share before we close?
I think we're good. I do.
Hey, Cindy.
Yeah.
It's Lori. I was just, as a little bit of reality to everyone, which I know you know, so many of you may feel like you're kind of on the roll of enrolling, or maybe not. I mean, if you feel like you still struggle to enroll, you might have to work on a lot of what Cindy was talking about. But then once you get in the habit of enrolling, and you've enrolled a lot of people, and some of them start going for a while and then they fade or quit. I mean, to me, the most frustrating thing in this whole business is the people who quit, right? Leaders, not necessarily enrolling. But long story short, I just want you guys to realize that most of you are we don't realize, because of who we are, we don't realize how rare we are. And I think that was the hardest thing for me to realize, is that I am wired different than most humans. You guys all are too. So if you feel like it's really hard to find that clone, that person who wants to do what you do and work like you do, and has the vision that you do and the desire that you do, and doesn't want to settle, I know they talk about it being this 1% to 2% of the population, and it is, and most people are just content with average. And that's hard to swallow, I guess, for me. And it was a huge realization. And I don't mean that for you to like be frustrated. It's just, you got to keep going. That's why they call it a deck of cards. There's like 4 aces in the whole freaking deck. Mm-hmm. That's, you got to keep flipping them all. You got to get better at your skills to believe in people and show them and all those things too. But even the people who are great at their skills are going to have to go through the deck of cards, I guess. So
yeah, that is a great point, Lori. Great point. And you guys, it's so true. Like, you know, it's going to take a long time to find a you. So we have to go through a lot of numbers in order to do that. So that is such a good point, Lori. And we have to expect that. And tune into next week's team call, because we're bringing PK Smith on, and he's going to talk about just that, and how most of your business is going to be built on happy customers. Happy customers. And Jimmy Smith, if you did not listen to the director call and above, I posted it in Team Synergy today. Please listen to that, because I know a lot of you didn't get to hear that. You weren't on the call. Maybe you're not a director quite yet, but they told us to share this, because there was 2 testimonies of 2 women from Hawaii that will probably make you cry. They were really, really good testimonies. And anyway, I shared that with you guys, but PK is coming on next week, and he's going to talk about how your business is going to be built on a lot of happy customers. And then you're going to find a few diamonds in the rough, a few aces in that deck. Like Lori just said, you'll find them, but you have to deal with a lot of other numbers first to find those aces. And that's where you can't give up. And that's where you can't, you can't have that quitting mentality. You have to be in this for the long haul, be committed, work on where you're weak. If you know comparison is an issue for you, or you've thought about quitting, or you've spoke the words out loud, and that might be an issue for you, then figure that out, work on it, talk to people about it, have some accountability around it, and absolutely fix it. It's fixable. Everything is figure outable. That's another good book for you. 2 books tonight. Think Like a Monk and Everything is Figure Outable. And guys, let's just 2.0 this together. We'll find those aces. All right. Did I miss anything in the chat? Were you?
No, I just want to make sure. No,
Okay.
we just know Michael Miller's in Bali and life is good.
Okay. All right, guys. Love you. Have a fabulous week, and be here next week for PK Smith. You'll love him. He's great if you've never met him.